This is why me and Curtis disagree on this one. I don't feel like you got to side every quarterback with the pulse to a damn extension, man. Because I know people say, what else would you do? There is so much else you could do, dog. Do you think Jameis Winston would give the Giants a similar chance to win right now?
I think he would give him a better chance to win right now. 100%.
Jameis Winston only costs $8 million. This is my point. If you aren't convinced that quarterback is the dude, you don't got to pay that dude prices just because you hope it might work. Like, once you get there, very rarely does it pay off.
Yeah, if you don't know it's gonna work, like if you aren't sure that it's going to work, don't pay him. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
And people ask, what's the alternative? Run the ball. That's the alternative. What are we going to do? We need a quarterback. It's a passing league. Try running. Like, simply run the football. Like, you could put together, apparently the Browns were able to put together a top 10 offense with good running the football and Jacoby Brissett. Now, I understand everybody don't got Kevin Stefanski, but dog, it's been done before. Like, that is the lack of creativity from NFL teams when it comes to quarterback, and the lack of creativity from NFL fans when it comes to quarterback about this whole thing, where it's like, oh, we got to give Trevor Lawrence a $50 million extension. Oh, what we going to do? Not sign Tua? Yeah. Like.
Now, be fair. Be fair to Tua. Tua's done. He's accomplished significantly more than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, of course.
Significantly. You know what I'm saying?
But he's also
paying Tua. I get it. I get it.
Well, I mean, Cole has he because Daniel Jones has won a playoff game.
Daniel Jones has. Who'd they beat?
I believe it was the Minnesota or the Cowboys.
No, was it the Cowboys?
It might have been Minnesota. I think it was Minnesota because they won like 12 games that year. We all knew they were frauds, and they lost to the Giants. But my thing is, this is my main point. If we feel like Daniel Jones is any quarterback, right? Like, capable of a good game, capable of a bad game, definitely not a franchise quarterback. That's where we put Daniel Jones. There's a whole lot of any quarterback in the NFL that you could roll with, and if you could get to the division round with any quarterback, then what's the difference from having Tua, who you know what his ceiling is? The divisional round, right? Like, you just gonna get there a little bit more comfortably with Tua than you would with any quarterback, right? Is that really worth it? Is that really worth it? These are when you have to sign $60 million worth of wide receiver to keep that quarterback position upright. Is it worth it? I don't think so. And maybe I'm a crazy man for this. And maybe I'll be proven right or be proven wrong in the next 5 years about this. But I'm just saying, there's really no reason to sign a quarterback that you're not sure about to a long-term deal. If somebody else wants to give Trevor Lawrence or Tua Tagovailoa $60 million to play quarterback, let them. Let them. Let them. We found this. Hey, man, it's not often you sign the quarterback on a new team to a big-ass contract and it works out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
we know a little bit about that. We do.
Like, what is the fear here with a lot of teams? Like, he gonna leave? Let him. What, Ryan Tannehill go leave? Let Ryan Tannehill go, bro. It don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing. Yeah, I would let dog. If I was a GM, I would either get fired so quickly or be a genius because I would just be sitting there like, nah, man, let him walk. I'm absolutely not signing. Like, if let's say who's not Brock Purdy, because I do think Brock Purdy is actually like re-signed here. I know we disagree on that one. But
we don't disagree on that. We don't disagree on that.
Okay. But like, who's a quarterback that's like we are 100% unsure about if they are worth extending. Where like you hear the talk of them getting $50 million, you're like, hey, don't know if I would have done that. But then everybody make.
What did Jared Goff get?
Jared Goff got like 45.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
That's fair. I would give Jared Goff like 45.
I would give Jared Goff 45.
Yeah.
Who else?
But okay, let's use Trevor Lawrence as an example. I think this is the one that's gonna be hard for people to let go of. But I would have been like, nah, Trevor, test the market. Test the market. If you think you can get 50 somewhere else, go get it. Because I don't think he's worth it. And maybe it's Jacksonville, but Tua would have test the market, Tua.
I think the Trevor situation is more on Jacksonville. Maybe I feel like that because we just got finished talking to JP about the entire situation going on over there.
I think it's twofold, though. I think it's twofold. I think Trevor has just proven himself to be an inconsistent dude at quarterback. I mean, how many years we gonna give Trevor Lawrence, man?
That's true. Trevor's had some high highs. He's had some low lows. He's had some low lows, man.
Yeah, it's not that different from what Baker Mayfield looked like his first 4 years in the NFL.
It's really not.
You know, like it's outside of him like destroying his shoulder and having like one of his worst years of his life. Like he's probably gonna have like a decent year. Like I just see this as similar to that, and it's like it's interesting that it was so easy for everybody to come up with that math on Baker Mayfield, but then it's Trevor Lawrence who has significantly more hype coming into him. He produces similar results, and like we're just like I don't know. And I think it's just because of that promise of Trevor Lawrence that we all were told about. We just have a hard time letting go of. But I'm like, I don't think I think he's just going to be this.
If you're comparing him to Baker, do you also think that if he okay, let's put it like this. If he wasn't on the Jack, let's say we didn't have Deshaun and we had Trevor instead.
Yeah.
Would you feel better or worse about him if he was on the Browns as opposed to Jags?
And he was still playing the way he plays?
I'm just saying, if you put Trevor on the Browns, do you think that it would be a better situation and he would be a better quarterback as a result? Much the same way that Baker is better in Tampa than he was, in Carolina and the Rams in that last year in Cleveland.
I would say this. We'd be having the same conversations we had with Baker Mayfield that we're having with Deshaun Watson. Is this a year we get that Trevor year? Is this the year we finally get that breakout? Is this what we have to see? Is this what needs to be fixed? It's the same conversation. Like, it's the same similar spot. You're hoping that you get a breakout. Maybe you get a breakout. Maybe you don't. Maybe you catch him on a good year. Maybe you don't. But what I do know is I don't think you win a championship with a dude like Trevor Lawrence as your, like, primary starter. Like, maybe, like, he pops in for a year and has a great year, and then you ride that. But, like, I don't think he's going to be Josh Allen. Like, I think he's going to settle in as, yeah, you get a good year out, Trevor. Kind of like Derek Carr. Bring it full circle. That's where I think he's at.
I don't know. I take the chance and try to get Trevor away from Jacksonville. See what we can do. I take the chance.
Nah, I don't think it'd be that much different. Because also, like, Trevor's issues are kind of similar to. But I don't want to say nothing like that yet. Hey, the too high revolution has claimed a lot of victims. The too high revolution has claimed its victims.
I'm glad you did not finish that one.
Hey. Because people going to fill in the blank, and I don't think people going to be correct about what they fill in the blank with there. But, yeah. The too high revolution has claimed a lot of victims over the years. And I wonder if Trevor Lawrence is one of those guys that are. Because, like, didn't really take what was there against Cleveland. Didn't really show patience.
He was seeing ghosts. He was seeing ghosts at some point. He was.
It's tough. It's tough. Hey, bro. Like, again, with Trevor Lawrence, it's like if Caleb Williams keeps looking bad It's going to take people forever to give up on Caleb Williams because what we saw in college was so phenomenal. I thought much better than what we saw out of Trevor Lawrence. Like, I know for me, it's going to take a while. Like, look, I'll be having the same exact conversation in the reverse with Caleb Williams because I wasn't a believer in Trevor Lawrence coming out of college that he was as good as people said he was. But let me tell you something. I am a believer in Caleb Williams. Like,
and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
And Caleb Williams, let me tell you, in 3 years, if he doesn't look good, I'd be like, man, wonder what Stefanski could do with that. Still hoping that we could bring that out of him. That's why I know this is what's going on with Trevor, because everybody's like, man, we could just squeeze that freshman year Trevor out of him. And I don't think it's happening. He wasn't consistent in college, Cole. He's not consistent in the NFL. This just who the dude is. And you usually don't sign that dude to a big-ass contract.
I just love how you just told everyone how inconsistent you are going to be on this. If we're having,
because I'm human. I am explaining the very human factors on why it is that people will not let that one go with Trevor, right? And I'm admitting that I'm not above it, right? Like, it's just this happened to be a thing that I didn't get caught up in, so I can see it clearly. But when it comes to Caleb Williams, hey, if it start looking bad, I'm going to be one of them wrong people. Like,
that's why I'm here. To be like, nah, I just think he's not good.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I
don't think he's good.
Look, I'll be honest with you ahead of time. Like, sometimes you believe in dudes and your belief in them, like, look, it's still somebody willing to crash out over Bryce Young. Like,
good luck, God bless.
Yeah, I hear all these people try to make it work with Bryce Young. What can we do to trade Bryce Young to this team? What situation can make it work? As if a system is going to be what makes it work with Bryce Young. He's small. He can't throw the ball far. He not fast. It ain't going to work. It was obvious.
Like, and I understand people try to blame the Panthers, but I'm like, hey, man, I get that. You're not wrong. But, bro, I don't see it.
This how Bryce Young gets discussed is illuminating to me because now I know in a parallel universe where Johnny Manziel isn't a fucking asshole, we now know that they would have blamed the Browns for everything that happened with Johnny Manziel. Because the same reason it ain't going to work with Johnny Manziel, the same reason it ain't working with Bryce Young, it ain't really that different except for Bryce Young reads the playbook, but you know what? Johnny Manziel was a better athlete. And had better arm strength. I'm just going to put that one out there. Like, and we talk about a dude who couldn't stick in the CFL. In Johnny Manziel. He had to go all the way to like the fan-controlled football where they let you smoke weed in the middle of the game. That's where Johnny Manziel finally stuck. And I'm saying that dude, clearly a better athlete than Bryce Young. Also bigger.
Bryce.
So now I know. People blaming the Panthers for that dog. I'm like, do you not watch? Like, that ain't the look. The Panthers did not do everything right. I agree with that. But the amount of shit that had to go right for Bryce Young to look serviceable on the NFL field, it was never going to happen. Andy Reid could have drafted him, and it wasn't going to happen. Like, what situation is Bryce Young gonna? The only situation that I've heard credible analysis of him being able to work out in is what JP said he worked out in Miami. And we saw what Tua looked like before Mike McDaniels got there. I don't know if that's a compliment. Like, the one system where we definitely feel like it ain't him. Like, that's the one.
Oh man, yeah, man.
And even then, we ain't even sure if that would work.
Yeah, I'm 100% on Bryce. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work, especially I looked at this when I looked at the stats of the Andy Dalton game, because I was like, they did play Andy Dalton for a game last year, didn't they? I wonder what he did. 360 yards, 366, 2 touchdowns. I was like, oh.
Adam Thielen had like 100 yards in that game. Everybody been saying he cooked. I don't know.
Yeah, it might just be Bryce.
Hey,
It might just be Bryce.
they traded so much to get him. I will never because I knew in February before he got drafted. Oh yeah, don't do that. We were on this show talking about I would not do that. Like us, dudes in a chair. Okay, we saw it. Nothing about what happened with Bryce Young is a surprise. Not because here's how you know this was obvious. Not only are we correct about this, Cole, we are correct about exactly how it happened. Like bar for bar, blow for blow. It is exactly why we thought it would fail.
Hey, you remember why? Remember when? We was like, oh, they trading up. The Panthers are trading up to number 1. We said early.
Got to be for Anthony Richardson.
We said you said Anthony Richardson. I was like, oh, they traded up for CJ. They definitely traded up for CJ. And then the weeks went by, and we were like,
they about to do this for Bryce.
If they do it for Bryce, I think that would be a mistake. What about him? He would have had to been the greatest outlier, maybe in NFL history, for that to work out.
Because he's small for small dudes.
Yeah, he's short and he's small, like under 200 pounds, small.
And he ain't Kyler Murray.
You see what I'm saying? He's not that kind of athlete. So it was just gonna be hard for that to work out when CJ and then Cam Newton, but faster, were both right there sitting at 1, and you didn't take either.
It's like Cam Newton is a bullet. You know what? Anthony Richardson, a Full Metal Jacket. Like you shoot that shit out of a high-powered sniper rifle. That is a 50 caliber shot of man coming at you, dog. Like
I saw CJ against Georgia, and I was like, that's the guy. That's who you take number 1 overall. You don't think about it. You're just like, yeah, we're taking it.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Don't know why people did that one. That's got to be an owner decision, right? Like that couldn't have been because what? Josh McCown crashed out over it. Mm-hmm. I don't blame him. I don't blame him, dog.
Who was their head coach to start the season? Who was their head coach to start the season?
Last year? Was it the dude from Baylor? Matt Rule?
No, it wasn't Matt Rule. Somebody else.
That's crazy.
It was somebody else, and he got fired like pretty quick. I'm pretty sure he wanted CJ.
Yeah, look. Again, to people like to blame shit on one thing, right? And it's easy to look at the Panthers, who have been a legitimate clusterfuck, and think to yourself, hey, man, it was the Panthers. I'm going to point to that. That was the reason. In life, very rarely is one thing the issue. A lot of times, bad decisions compound on bad decisions. And this situation with the Panthers is a key example of it. Yeah, you made some bad coaching hires. Yeah, you made some bad GM hires. But you know what those bad hires did? Made worse decisions with personnel. And now you drafted a dude number 1 overall that had no business going number 1 overall. And you absolutely didn't have to do it. This isn't Anthony Bennett, when there was nobody else to go number 1 overall. So you traded for number 1 overall in a draft class that had 2 very intriguing prospects. One of the more traditional matter in CJ Stroud, and one of the spaceship kind in Anthony Richardson. And you went with the little dude. Like,
couldn't believe it.
Hey,
couldn't
man.
believe it.
On one hand, though, I got to give it to the Panthers. Drafted Bryce Young number 1 overall. That might be a sign of progress that we're not willing to accept. But, hey, the fact that he could get drafted number 1 overall, it's really possible for anybody to get drafted number 1 overall. Okay?
saying this
Like,
is a sign of progress is insane.
it is because progress isn't measured because you draft the greatest quarterback prospect to ever live, #1 overall. It ain't hard to look at Cam Newton and think, yeah, I should take him over Jake Locker. That's not progress. But if you took Jake Locker #1 overall and Jake Locker was black, that is progress because we usually can't get that kind of love. Okay? Like, hey, look, if Bryce Young sticks around in the league for like 8 years, progress. Okay?
Oh, if he gets another opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the NFL, that is
Progress.
100% a sign of progress.
Yeah, like, look, man, it ain't all a loss. Like, the fact that Bryce Young could get taken #1 overall when there's a dude in here who's 6'5" and runs a what? What he ran? Like a 4.3?
4-3.
Oh! And you went with the little dude because you thought he was smarter than everybody else? That's crazy. But hey, that's progress.
That's progress. That's progress.
Now, I don't know if that show of progress being ultimately wrong is going to actually reverse the pendulum. But hey, man, what happened in next year? Drake May had to fight somebody to get drafted in the top 5. Like,
you know how I feel about Drake May. You know how.
Hey, man, I would have took Jaden Daniels over him. Look, man, we making progress. Also, speaking of progress, Cooper DeJean played corner. There it is. It was slot, but you know he was in corner.
It was slot. It was slot, wasn't it? It was slot, wasn't it? Okay.
He was inside, but he wasn't in the box. It was spread. It was spread. It was in nickel. Like sometimes you playing slot in nickel, but you not nickel. You know, so I give him that. They put that man at corner, you know, letting that brother play.
In the slot.
He was still on the boundary, though. He was still on the boundary.
Well, hey, just know when he start getting them safety snaps, I'm gonna talk to you.
Hey, man, that's gonna break my heart.
when he start getting them safety snaps, I'm gonna be like, okay.
I'm like, because Coop can play corner, dog. He probably should be playing corner right now. I'm not convinced that they secondary is better than Quinyon Mitchell with Cooper DeJean. Like,
I'm just telling you, when it happens, I'm gonna text you.
They gonna put him at safety. They did give him that nasty number.
I'm telling
They
you.
did. Well, Quinyon out there were 27.
Yeah.
That sounds like a corner who holds a lot. Like, they got to get that number game up, man. That's crazy. That is absolutely the Eagles are hogging all the good numbers apparently because those are some atrocious numbers they gave out to the rookies. But yeah, man. At least I can say that about Bryce, you know? Other than that, I got nothing good to say, dog. It's been bad. It's been predictably bad in every way that we expect. I said this before the draft. Hey, dog, he plays like Joe Burrow. He plays like Deshaun Watson, but he's small and he's not athletic. How do we think this going to work?
It's not. It has. What do we do? What you do?
Also, Cole, I would like to put one more in the column for the QnColb draft analysis on quarterbacks. Pro ready is a lie. Stop listening to the lies. Okay? There is no such thing as pro ready.
No such thing.
Pro ready is a lie. CJ Stroud, that pro ready, he played in the spread. Guess they figured it out. Guess they figured it out. How to use CJ Stroud. Hey, you know what's pro ready for Anthony Richardson? Running. Like, straight out the game. What Anthony Richardson can do? Run. Because he's bigger and faster than everybody, even in the NFL. Stop telling me about these pro ready quarterbacks, man. Because you know who was pro ready? Bryce Young. Yeah, okay. I mean, go through the list of the pro ready guys.
We might
Josh
have
Rosen.
to have a conversation about Anthony Richardson. It's too early in the season. But I'm observing. I'm noticing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing, observing, that's all.
It's also his friend. Like, it's also technically kind of his rookie year.
It's his rookie year, so I'm just like, okay, we just gonna let it go take the
And like
lumps,
CJ
go
didn't
from
start looking like CJ till like week 8. So I'll give him time. But still, you can
Highlights.
lose.
Woo, woo. The highlights are high. I give him that. The highlights are
Hey,
high.
hey, here's the thing about a dude like Anthony Richardson. You could swing or miss on Anthony Richardson and nobody got to get fired because ultimately everybody can understand why you did that.
Swinging and missing on Bryce Young. Everybody got to go.
Hey,
Everybody got to go.
look, this is what I say. You can swing and miss on the quarterback. Everybody act like you can't swing and miss. You can swing and miss as long as you can make a good argument for why you did. Like, ultimately, if the Browns swing and miss on Deshaun Watson, they'll get away with it. Nobody gonna get fired. Why?
No.
Everybody was convinced he was the top 5 quarterback. Like, when you made the move, that was the expectation. It wasn't like you drafted for a prospect. Hell, Trey Lance, they don't get no hell in San Francisco for getting Trey Lance out there. Why? Because you still understood why they did it. They had Jimmy Garoppolo. What was they supposed to do? Just let that happen? like,
I still thought they were going to take Justin Fields. I still thought they were going to take Justin Fields when they traded up.
Mm-hmm. It's always a cop-out you can have as a GM where you could make somebody understand why it is that you made that decision that you made, even if that decision not necessarily popular.